It's Friday. If you're working for the weekend, you are almost there. But first take, Max Kellerman. How are we doing?
Molly, how are you?
I am fantastic. Stephen A. Smith, looking dapper.
Black tie.
There in black and white. How we doing, my friend?
What's going on, y'all? How y'all doing? You like the look, Max? You like the look?
You look like you're ready to go out on the town.
I have to host an event tonight at Cheney University outside of Philadelphia. So, you know, I'm dressed to the nines. I'm ready for that. So
He is dressed to the nines.
You don't need our approval. You're looking clean though. You look very handsome. But why did you want Max's take and not mine? My fashion expertise isn't good enough here?
Because Max is usually wearing the three-piece. When I usually don't care about a man's opinion. I would always come to you, Molly.
Yeah.
But in the case of the three-piece Tom Ford suits, Max has a couple of them.
Yeah.
That's why I leaned on.
That's a three-piece Tom Ford with the Tom Ford tie and the white shirt. You can't. It's a perfect black tie outfit.
Yeah. That wasn't too expensive. That was just a couple dollars. All right, let's get into it. Speaking of well-dressed, Tom Brady returns from his 4-game suspension just in time for the Patriots to take on the Browns this Sunday. Brady has won 172 career games since becoming the Patriots' starting quarterback in Week 3 of 2001. Listen to this. While the Browns have won 175 games over their last 29 seasons. Stephen A., what do you expect to see from Brady against Cleveland?
Oh, I expect to see a very angered individual. He's a guy that's thrown for 4,000 yards plus for the last 5 consecutive years, if not longer. And we all know he's going against the Cleveland Browns at the 27th ranked defense in the NFL. They're like about 16th against the pass, 23rd in yards allowed. But ultimately, they're 0-4. They're a team on the come up. The only bright spot for the Cleveland Browns, as far as I'm concerned, is 2 things. Hugh Jackson, the head coach, because he has them playing very competitive football for the most part, outside of them getting beat up by the Philadelphia Eagles on opening day. They blew a lead against the Baltimore Ravens, but they were competitive. They lost to the Miami Dolphins, but they should have won that game if their field goal kicker had parquet. You know, the flavor says butter. He's not butter. He's parquet, okay? And then, of course, you've got a situation here where they played against the Washington Redskins last week, and they lost. But Hugh Jackson's got them competitive. The other bright spot would be Terrell Pryor, who Tim Tebow should learn a thing or two from. He's a quarterback in college that came to the pros to be a quarterback, but recognized that there were other attributes that obviously he could be very successful at exercising, mainly the wide receiver spot for Cleveland. And because of that, to me, as far as I'm concerned, he's been their MVP thus far this year. I think Terrell Pryor has been absolutely sensational, and he performed very well against Josh Norman last week. But in the end, that's not going to help them but so much against New England, because Tom Brady is back. They've got their franchise back in the saddle. And not only is he a future Hall of Famer, a 4-time Super Bowl champion, a former league MVP, one of the elite players in the game today, and one of the preeminent faces in the game of the National Football League, but he is ticked off. And if there was ever someone to take it out on with relative ease, I anticipate it will be the Cleveland Browns. I expect a very, very long Sunday afternoon for them. I expect a spectacular performance by Tom Brady, but it won't necessarily show in all the numbers, because I think he will annihilate them early, and he won't have to do but so much late, because Bill Belichick will call off the Wolves.
Yeah, I mean, is Tom Brady in his first game back after publicly claiming he was unfairly punished and threatening to take the case to the Supreme Court? Is that guy who has since seen the team go 3-1 and hear things about Garoppolo that you started to hear last year, that he's the quarterback of the future, and wow, Garoppolo's really good already and everything, before Garoppolo went down and they brought in Brissett, and then they went 3-1 without Brady, and oh, maybe Brady's a system quarterback, and all these kind of things. Is that Tom Brady going to be motivated? He's always motivated, but might he even have a little extra adrenaline this game? Yeah. And is he playing the Broncos defense or the Vikings defense? No. He's playing one of the worst defenses in the NFL. And to top it all off, guess who he has on the field this week? Gronkowski. When he has Gronk, the difference between Tom Brady, who went from just a really excellent young quarterback to maybe the greatest quarterback who ever lived, because of his ability to so quickly read defenses and so quickly make decisions and accurate throws. But the difference between Tom Brady without Gronk is a great quarterback on an excellent team that's going to make the playoffs. With Gronk, Tom Brady becomes the guy. The Patriots become the Super Bowl favorites, or one of the 2 or 3 teams favored to win the Super Bowl, and they will usually make a run, wind up at least in the AFC Championship game. That's what it's been with Gronk on the field. With Gronk on the field, Tom Brady's going to put on an offensive show, especially now you got Bennett, too. They got the 2 tight end sets with Bennett, who is, at his worst, a B-plus tight end offensively. They're going to put on an offensive show against a terrible defense, after which I will get a lot of people will tweet at me, oh, I thought Tom Brady was supposed to fall off a cliff, duh.
Oh,
yes, he will fall off.
That's your voice for your Twitter
yes,
fans?
it is. Yes, he will fall off a cliff
Lord.
sometime before the middle of next season. Could it be this week? Yes, but highly unlikely, especially given the circumstances.
Well, let's make a couple of things. In Vegas, when you talk about the Patriots, the last 35 times the Patriots have been favored by 5 or more, they've been 33-2 straight up. There's nothing that's going to change here. That's number one. Number two, let me the 33-2 straight up. Let me make sure I emphasize. Something here. We all know what we anticipate Tom Brady would do, but what I'm really trying to say, opening this show with Tom Brady's, preempting Tom Brady's first game back after his 4-game suspension, is that I believe Tom Brady ain't just after a Super Bowl. I believe the Patriots and Patriots fans want Roger Goodell to have to hand that trophy to Tom Brady. It's one of those moments where if Tom Brady and the New England Patriots end up winning the Super Bowl championship, what I am here proclaiming is that an extra source of motivation, whereas you have the commissioner that hands the trophy to the owner and the
We lose Stephen A. for a
We
second
lost Stephen
there?
A. for a second. Yes, I know everyone thinks that Tom Brady will be extra motivated to win a Super Bowl this year, but let's not forget that last season, through the first half of the season, who was the MVP going to be? It was Tom Brady by so much there was no one else worth talking about. Then about 2/3 of the way through the season, a couple people started saying, well, what about Cam Newton? And then by the end of the season, actually it was Cam Newton. So you can't win the Super Bowl in week 5, Stephen A., your first week back. You ain't going to win the Super Bowl this upcoming Sunday against the Browns. You will cream the Browns. They will destroy the Cleveland Browns.
We all know that, Max.
But, he's not going to make any Super Bowl statement week 5.
Professor Kellerman, we know the sky is blue, just like we know the Patriots can't win the Super Bowl this week. Thank you for enlightening us. What I was trying to say was this, before technicalities rudely interrupted me.
That was cosmic censorship right there.
Brady, I truly believe that Tom Brady's biggest goal outside of winning the Super Bowl championship, the Patriots' biggest goal outside of winning the Super Bowl championship, is to make sure that Roger Goodell has to hand that trophy to Tom Brady. I'm telling you right now, there was no one happier that the New England Patriots lost in the AFC Championship game last January than Roger Goodell. There was no one happier than him. I think, and I don't think right now there's anyone rooting against the New England Patriots harder than Commissioner Roger Goodell. But you know something? I just think that Tom Brady is going to go berserk. I expect he'll be ready, and that's really all I have to say about it.
Oh, please, football gods, if you grant me anything.
That's what it is.
If you grant me anything, oh, great football gods, who they responded to my prayers about the Giants in the past. Please, let somehow the Cleveland Browns beat Tom Brady in his first game back.
Yeah, right. It's not going to happen. Good luck with that one. Jets fans cannot be happy with the performance of Ryan Fitzpatrick this season. He's already thrown 10 interceptions, 9 in just the last 2 games, resulting in the Jets having a 1-3 record, tied for worst in the AFC East. Fitzpatrick's poor performance is leading many to question if Geno Smith, who hasn't started since 2014, should be given the job back. Hello, Mark Schlereth.
Hello, how are you?
you doing?
I'm good.
What do you think? Fitzy's job on the line?
Well, I think your job is always on the line when you don't play well. I mean, obviously, I would look at the Jets as an organization and go, if Geno Smith can't get into a game after Fitzpatrick has thrown 9 picks in the last 2, how much do you hate Geno Smith? I mean, Why is he on your roster? If you can't put him in, if you can't say, hey, Fitzpatrick, listen, man, it's not going your way today. You've thrown 5 picks. You know what? Why don't you come over here, sit on the sideline a little bit? Let's let Geno go ahead and finish this game up. If you can't even make that move at that point, then why is he on your roster? And, oh, by the way, Bryce Petty is hurt. You draft Christian Hackenberg. Have you not developed a quarterback that you feel consistent about or that you feel good enough about to put in a game when your starter is really struggling? I'm not just saying bench him. I'm saying pull him and say, man, hey, listen, man, tough day. Didn't go your way today. But they don't even have the faith in Geno to do that. It really shows you from a personnel department what they're giving Todd Bowles, the head coach, to work with if they don't feel comfortable putting Geno Smith in a game in the last 2 weeks. So my question again would be, why is he on your roster? If you can't stand him that much, why is he even on your roster?
100%. And by the way, Geno Smith didn't get a long-term deal. First, he didn't get the money he wanted, then he didn't get the years he wanted, and there's a reason for that. It's because he hasn't been a very good quarterback throughout his career. He's a competent NFL quarterback, a very good backup, and as a starter, you're probably looking for someone a little bit better. If, you know, he doesn't look like a long-term, never been a long-term answer to anyone's franchise. He's turnover-prone, obviously. 9 interceptions in like a half a second. Yeah, the other guy should be starting. And the thing is, since you don't have long-term plans for Fitzpatrick, since if you lose this week, you're probably not going to make the playoffs, and since at least Geno Smith has shown flashes at times, why wouldn't you start him? It doesn't make any sense. I think absolutely Fitzpatrick's job should be on the line this weekend.
It makes perfect sense why you wouldn't start Geno Smith. Geno Smith is 11-18 as a starter in New York. His QBRs in the 2 seasons that he played was 38 and 44. Enough said. New York doesn't believe in him. New Yorkers don't want him. Plus, you went out and you drafted, you drafted Bryce Petty. You drafted this guy Hackenberg out of Penn State. And so the fact of the matter is you've got 3 quarterbacks on your roster where none of them may work for you. I like McCagnon a lot. I'm really fond of him. But these are the kind of questions that have to be answered. Whether it's him, it's Bowles, or both. Something's wrong with that picture when you are looking at a Ryan Fitzpatrick. You got 3 other quarterbacks, and you ain't thinking about playing any of them. Now, in Ryan Fitzpatrick's defense, I will say this. You got the 6 interceptions against Kansas City. Deplorable performance, no doubt about that. But those 3 interceptions he threw last week, I thought were a relative misnomer. One of those interceptions went right through the hands of his receiver. The other one was a desperation heave near the end of the game. So to me, those 2 don't really count. What we really come down to is that Ryan Fitzpatrick had a very, very bad game against Kansas City. I don't think we should be looking at him as his job security at all unless he comes out and stinks up the joint with another 4, 5, 6 interception performance. If barring something like that, I don't see that you have a better option in a Jets uniform at this particular moment in time.
Right, that's why his job's on the line. If he plays poorly, then he should be yanked.
Well, he should be, but if you don't...
But go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, if you have no faith in the guys that you have on your roster, why are they on the roster? Here's the other thing, man, that doesn't get enough attention in this day and age of the National Football League, and this is a big issue. And this is where some franchises set themselves apart and other franchises continue to struggle along the way. It's not just drafting guys. The most important part is developing guys. And it's really hard to do nowadays because you don't get to practice anymore. You don't get the time. You don't get that. So you better have guys on your staff that know how to develop a player and get that player up to speed quickly without that practice time. And, you know, the franchises that are doing it right now, the Denver Broncos have done a great job. New England is always exceptional at this. They draft, but more importantly, they develop. You can't develop a quarterback that you feel comfortable with in 2 weeks when your quarterback has thrown 9 interceptions. You got issues.
And by the way, how do you develop a guy if he never gets out on the field? If he's why is he on your roster? That's the first part, right?
Right.
And secondly, he doesn't get any more experience. He's never on the field. Let's not pretend Geno Smith didn't also have some pretty good games in the NFL. He has.
Right.
And Ryan Fitzpatrick, Stephen A., has been good throughout his entire career for a grand total of 2 seasons. Not great, good for 2 years out of his whole career.
I would ask both of you this, and maybe
what are the good games you're talking about with Geno Smith?
You want me to tell you the dates off the top of my head? Geno Smith, the last time he actually started for the Jets, threw like 3 touchdowns.
Off the top of my head, I've seen him had good moments. It's rare in the day that I saw us on a Monday morning talking about, hey, Geno really looked good. He's had good moments, but a good game?
Yes.
Schlereth,
He's had good
you know
games.
better than me. You recall him having a good game?
Well, listen, I'm sure that he's probably had a decent game. I would never put him in the upper echelon of anything. Here's the one thing that would bother me, and it's bothered me, and you two would know better than I, because you probably heard more than I. But when your quarterback, who at the time was your starting quarterback, gets jacked in the jaw in the locker room in training camp, and I didn't hear one dude on that roster say, like, hey, man, that's a problem. Like, when I didn't hear one guy come to his defense, that says to me, you got a guy in your locker room that people don't respect. And those guys, you can't give an opportunity to start if nobody respects the guy. And I don't know, maybe they did come to his defense, but I didn't hear one guy basically complain about that.
One thing he is in the upper echelon of, Mark, is Jets quarterbacks. He's in the upper echelon of Jets quarterbacks. Geno Smith.
That pretty much says it all right there.
All right, Jets
I don't think so.
at Heinz Field this weekend. Hey, at least they're in New York. Mark, you're sticking around with
All right.
us.